We are back. 7 Days of Wisdom, episode 17, February 28th, 3:42 p.m. Sunday. Another daytime edition. This week we will be discussing embracing what's difficult, discovering our passion, and the common denominator of success. And then we will hop into the quotes of the week. Alright? So let's jump right into it. Embracing what's difficult. I posted this on my website, aloversambition.com. Let's see. February 24th. So this past Wednesday, I posted this. This was initially a video on YouTube on Ty Lopez's channel. If you don't know, I'm literally digging through each and every video on that channel to absorb as much information as I possibly can. So that's one of my tasks right now. So a lot of videos you'll probably see in the future will be via Ty Lopez's channel, and I'll just be breaking it down and extracting things that I feel might be of benefit for yourself. So I know it benefits me, and hopefully it can benefit you. So back to the topic at hand, embracing what's difficult. What do we mean by embracing what's difficult? Well, essentially, when we look at what's difficult, nobody enjoys doing what's hard. Nobody enjoys doing what's difficult. But Elon Musk once said, we get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems that we solve. So when we think about it, a lot of the people who are solving big problems, who are titans of their industry, who are thought leaders, are being rewarded significantly. So when we look at wealthy people, they contribute a significant amount of time and energy and value into the problems in which they are looking to solve. So let's look at equity for an example. I myself have a personal philosophy that goes as follows. If we put in the work and trust in ourselves, then eventually the money will catch up. So sometimes we can't look at things just for the money. We just have to put in the hard work. As we're putting in the hard work, not only are we learning everything that comes from putting in the hard work and experiencing that, but people also notice that as well. Like, man, this person's a really hard-working person, and they deserve more, essentially. So it's only a matter of time before you will get what you deserve, as long as you're putting in the hard work and trusting in yourself. You know, the key words are work and trust. Putting in that hard work, maintaining faith in our ability to do what we do, and attract new opportunities to increase our earning potential. That's how I look at it. You know, another good way to embrace what's difficult and increase our earning potential is to figure out what other people don't want to do. There are a lot of things that other people just don't want to do. I don't feel like doing it, it's too hard. And that's when you can fill that void. If you can fill in the void and say, all right, I'll do it. If you can volunteer, for example, for that, that's a way of leveraging your brand, where it's like no one else wanted to do it, so I did it. Next thing you know, that leads to other opportunities because somebody sees that you are willing to step up and take that leadership position and leadership role just to get something done. It could be the most minuscule thing, but just the fact that you took initiative to get it done says a lot. One of Ty's business mentors said, millionaires just do stuff that everyone else won't. We can look at it as being that simple. Millionaires just do stuff. Wealthy people just do stuff that other people don't. You know, it's the habits. It's the patterns that successful people develop that unsuccessful people don't, that makes a difference at the end of the day. It's a mindset, you know? It's the mindset, the ability to take action, clear out distractions, and execute on whatever needs to be executed on. That's it. When I was revisiting Sean Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, actually his father, Stephen Covey, is the one who, the author for the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but I just happen to have the one for teens. So I just read it. I was looking for something inspiring to read, and I came across a quote by Albert Ian Gray, and I'll actually revisit this as well when I talk about the common denominators of success. But what was mentioned is that all successful people have the habit of doing the things failures don't like to do. So essentially this aligns right alongside of the quote of what Ty's mentor told him. Millionaires do things that everyone else won't. Albert Ian Gray said the same exact thing, and this is back in 1940. Successful people have the habit of doing things failures, quote unquote, failures, unsuccessful people don't like to do. You know? The only difference is no one likes to do it, but the people who end up doing it, the disliking is subordinated to the strength of their purpose. So because a wealthy person or a successful person may have a purpose behind why they're doing it, that's what allows them to do it. If someone doesn't have a purpose, they're going to be like, I don't feel like doing it. There's no point of doing it. What's the purpose, right? There's a question mark. What's the purpose? On the contrary to that, when we have a purpose, we see the purpose. It's like, we know what the purpose is, so let's just do it. Let's get it done. That's it. So a lot of it has to do with purpose. And we'll get back to that as well. And we discussed that in past videos. But a lot of it has to do with purpose. So essentially, to wrap it up, when we identify our purpose and do a little bit extra, it all begins to add up. Everything adds up. From there, it's only a matter of time before we begin to reap the rewards. It's very important that we learn to embrace what's difficult and strive for excellence while overcoming our adversities. We can all aspire to be our greatest selves. Everyone. We can all aspire to be our greatest selves. And now's the time to get up, and make it happen. So let's make it happen. Alright? This was a little bit of inspiration in regards to embracing what's difficult. Let's embrace what's difficult, embrace the hardships, learn from them, take action, and reap the benefits and rewards of working hard. Let's do that. Next up is discovering our passion. A lot of times I get the question, how do I know what I'm passionate about? How do you know? How did you know what you're passionate about? It's hard for me to discover my passion. Just a few weeks ago, I was watching a 7-hour business mastery course on YouTube, and you'll be like, how do you watch 7 hours of something on YouTube? Well, technically, I wasn't watching it. I was listening to it. I just had the phone in my back pocket. I was doing other things as well, cooking, cleaning up around the house. But I was absorbing the information, and one thing that really stuck out to me is the fact that a lot of people need help discovering their passion. We need help discovering our passion. So if you're asking yourself this question now, how do I discover my passion? This is for you. Alright? I will do you the favor and spare you 7 hours. Number 1, we want to figure out what we're curious about. What is it that we enjoy doing? What is it that, arouses us in a certain way? So, it's important that we get out of our comfort zone. We wander around, we explore. We seek to discover new things. Steve Stout, former record exec for Columbia, he was at Sony like back in the 90s. I think he managed Nas for a little while. He said in his book, The Tanning of America, and this is one of my favorite quotes, Without curiosity, there is no innovation. So think about it. Without being curious, without asking questions, there would be no innovation. There would be nothing to come of it, you know, no discoveries. So think of any innovation. Think of Apple, think of Google. Those all started with some level of curiosity. Hands down, guaranteed, some level of curiosity. How can we do this? How can we make that better? How can we increase this aesthetic? How can we make the design better? You know, what can we grab from this industry to implement in our industry? All of these questions, the design thinking, you know, any kind of concept, you name it, it has been applied. It continues to be applied. So be curious, you know. In order to seek purpose internally, I feel that we must be curious externally. You know, the more we're curious about our surroundings, the more we begin to question in regards to what our meaning and calling is, and the more we can seek our purpose internally, because we're asking questions externally. Not everything can come from within, and even a lot of things that come from within start from without. It's just we're not able to tangibly make that connection. But essentially, we are socially driven human beings. So it's something from our external experience that has triggered an internal experience and has triggered us to seek purpose internally. So it's really a connection. It's a holistic connection. It's a matter of paying attention to everything externally and internally. That's how I view it. So let's be a scientist. Let's poke around. Let's run experiments and tests, as Ty and his team would say. The only way to differentiate what it is we like and what it is we don't like is to experiment. How do we know what we don't like unless we tried it? How do we know what we like unless we've tried it? So experiment. And just because we're adults doesn't mean we can't have fun and explore anymore. You know, we have to make time to explore and find what makes us, what makes us tick. Number 2, create a list. Once we've gone through the discover phase, it's important that we create a list of things that we actually enjoy. So what it is we do, what is it that we enjoy? What interests us the most? What are we interested in? Why are we interested in it? Can we invest in this as a hobby? Better yet, can we turn this into a living, something we can do for a living? These are all essential questions that we must ask ourselves. So create a list is number 2. Of course, being curious is number 1. And number 3 is asking people, what are we good at? What are we good at? What do we do good? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? But we don't even have to focus on the weaknesses. Just what are our strengths? What do we do good? Asking people what we do good is probably one of the best ways to identify our strengths. You know, our friends, our family. Once we know what we do good, we're able to focus more on the direction that would be most suitable for us to pursue in life. So, you know, we're able to narrow down what it is we want to pursue and zone in and target our roadmap in a way. Really get closer to the avenues that we should be navigating. For some people, discovering our passion may be difficult. For others, narrowing in on 1 or 2 things that we're passionate about may be difficult. But either way, once we know what we're good at, and once we know what we actually enjoy doing, then we're in a better position to discover our passion point. So it's one thing to know what we're good at, but what we're good at, we may not actually enjoy doing. So let's look at not only what we're good at, but also what we enjoy doing. And then once we're able to cross those points, that's our passion right there. So it's a combination of what we're good at, and it's also a combination of what we enjoy doing. So I remember me writing. There was a point where I was good at writing, but I didn't really enjoy doing it. I didn't start enjoying writing until recently, which of course now you see a lot more content, you know, a lot more written pieces. So it took me a little while to discover that. I've always been good at putting things together. For example, when I was a child, I was infatuated with architecture and construction. So this is how I found my passion. When I was a child, I was infatuated with architecture and construction. I would always just be amazed at how structures were built and developed. I love playing with Legos and just anything that connects, anything I could put together, anything that could form a finished product. Popsicle sticks, I just love. And then I grew older. I eventually gravitated into drawing, which is still a creative outlet. I gravitated into playing a lot of sports, football, basketball, when I was living on Staten Island. And then moving out to Jersey, I eventually got into creating music because my father's a musician. He always had studio equipment around, so I tapped into that. So these were all outlets for me. Today, my creative outlet essentially is a combination of everything I did growing up, everything I did in my childhood. So instead of connecting Legos and building blocks, now I'm connecting people and building brands. I'm building relationships. You know, I'm developing ideas. So I took everything that I was into as a child and turned it into something that I can do as a profession as an adult. So I just wanted to make that connection just so that you have an idea and a model of how you may be able to lay this out for yourself in regards to discovering your passion. So lastly, number 3, the big one, the common denominator of success. So yesterday morning I woke up. Wasn't feeling too inspired, so I decided to finish off the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. The miniature version, actually. I should get it real quick. So it's not even the big version. Which I'll probably read again as well. It's not the big version. It's not this one. It's actually this one. I just wanted something real quick to read, so I kind of cheated. But I just wanted a little tidbits of inspiration. So I finished that off, and I came across the quote that I read earlier from Albert E.N. Gray. And, you know, once again, all successful people have the habit of doing the things that failures don't like to do. Successful people, they don't like doing them necessarily either. No one likes doing them. But the difference is their disliking is subordinate to the strength of their purpose. So just because we dislike something doesn't mean it doesn't need to be done. That's where our purpose takes precedent and tells us, all right, because we have this purpose, this needs to be done. Because we have this purpose, I don't need to be doing that. So our purpose really helps us to identify what's most important, what needs to be done in alignment with our calling, our purpose, our meaning. Whatever doesn't align with our purpose, we don't need to be doing. And a lot of times, it's the nonsense stuff that most people get caught up in, that people with purpose don't necessarily get caught up in because they understand it doesn't align with their purpose, so they avoid the pitfalls. However, when we don't have a purpose, we're more inclined to get sucked into pitfalls because we don't know how to navigate as well as when we do have a purpose and a calling. So essentially, there is a 6-page piece entitled The Common Denominator of Success. You can get this online. You can get this on my website. I have a link to it. I'll add it in the resources. You can check out the article. It's a 6-page article entitled "The Common Denominator of Success." I perused through it, and I pretty much just picked out 4 main points that I feel we can all benefit from. So, let's see. The first point, and just a quick disclaimer. When we talk about success and unsuccess, some people may take offense. So I do not mean to demean or patronize anyone by saying unsuccessful or failure. Our purpose here at A Lover's Ambition, my purpose definitely is to just publish purposeful and meaningful and thought-provoking content to enlighten and inspire people. So if you take offense, please do not take offense. I just want to get this message across. So that's a quick just disclaimer. So the 4 points we're going to go over are embracing what's difficult, which we kind of did already, focusing on accomplishing results, having a growth adaptability mindset, and forming purposeful habits. So as I mentioned, we pretty much went over embracing what's difficult. It's just forming habits of doing things that other people don't want to do, and knowing that success is really something not achieved by the majority of people. It's achieved by the minority of people, so it's a bit unnatural to follow our natural likes and dislikes, and merely just being guided by that. We do have to practice a certain level of consciousness when it comes to telling us that, all right, although we don't like this, we still have to do it, just because in order to get to where we need to get, this has to be done. So that's one of the big differences in regards to people who essentially get things done from those who do not. And that's embracing what's difficult. Just being able to make that judgment of telling yourself, yes, this is hard and difficult, but it has to be done, so I'm going to get it done. Number 2, focusing on accomplishing results. So by doing things we do not like to do, we accomplish things we want to accomplish. For example, successful people are influenced by the desire for pleasing results. Alright? We are results oriented. The process that may be uncomfortable. The process doesn't matter as much because we know we're going to experience a level of being uncomfortable, but because our eye is on the results, we're willing to get through the process to achieve the result. On the other side of that, unsuccessful people are influenced by the desire for pleasing methods. So by the actual desire for the process, a pleasing process. So they're not willing to go through the process of something being difficult, therefore they want the process to be pleasing. And as a result, they tend to be satisfied with whatever results are obtained just by doing something that's pleasing. Going through a pleasing process typically does not yield impactful results. So that's one of the differences between the successful and unsuccessful. Why are successful people able to do things they don't like to do while unsuccessful people are not? Successful people, once again, have a strong purpose, a purpose that's strong enough to allow them to form the habits that enable them to do what's difficult in order to accomplish the ultimate purpose. In other words, once we find our why we're doing something, then we're able to use that why and trigger our what in regards to what we do and make the impact through what we do, which is determined by our purpose. So There are a lot of different levels to this, a lot of levels, but ultimately, successful people are comfortable with being uncomfortable in regards to achieving results. Unsuccessful people want to be comfortable in the process of achieving whatever results they yield, and most of the time they're satisfied. Just because the process was comfortable, whatever happens, they're satisfied. So that is focusing on accomplishing results. It's pretty much the difference between being results driven or process driven. And there's some people who are process driven and results driven, but that's just a general outline. Number 3, having a growth adaptability mindset. Ty's team talks about this all the time. It's easier to adjust ourselves to the hardships of a poor living than it is to adjust ourselves to the hardships of making a better one. Being comfortable. It's hard being broke. Some people aren't willing to break out of that, though. It's hard striving to be very wealthy. Who's willing to make those strides? Think of all the things we're willing to go without, all right, in order to avoid doing the things we don't like to do. So it's like, all right, should we make cuts or should we just work harder to get what we want? You know? It's like, oh, you know, I have to cut my finances. Or you can say, I just need to work harder to get more money so that I can afford everything that I need to afford. It's all mindset. It's all mindset. We can either work hard to get what we want, or we can stay where we are and just cut things out of our life. That's pretty much what that's saying, having a growth adaptability mindset or fixed mindset. If you have a growth adaptability mindset, then you strive, we strive for more. We're always striving for more. Alright? And once again, that's triggered by purpose. Purpose is the main theme here, obviously. That's what's driving everything in regards to what we do, the decisions we make, the people we choose to hang around. Purpose driven. Everything is purpose driven. Lastly, number 4, forming purposeful habits. Every single qualification for success is acquired through habit. People form habits and habits form futures. If we do not deliberately form good habits, then unconsciously we will form bad ones. Think about that. If we do not deliberately form good ones, unconsciously, by default, we will form bad ones. So, we are the kind of people we are because we have formed the habit of being that kind of person. Ask yourself, what kind of person are you? What kind of habits have you formed? The only way we can change is through habit. Every success there must be, behind every success there must be a purpose, and this is what makes purpose so important to our future. It's important that we do not allow our future to solely depend on circumstances in which we have no control. Rather, our future should depend on our purpose in life. This is extracted from the 6-page Albert Ian Gray article, 6-page article. So these 4 points are all extracted right from the article. It's written in 1940. We can still apply all of these strategies, all of these techniques right now, today, in today's modern world. So let's embrace what's difficult. Let's focus on accomplishing results. Let's have a growth adaptability mindset. Let's form purposeful habits. If you need to revisit this at any time, feel free to check out the blog, the website, aloversambition.com. Feel free to check me out online, Aquaus Kelley. You can just Google me, Aquaus Kelley, and you know, we would love for you to just check the site out, soak up all the information and knowledge. We do this for you. It's a resource. We want this to be a community of resources where we just share knowledge so that we can all become better at whatever we love to do, and set one another up for success to achieve our most passionate aspirations. So let's get in to the quotes of the week. Tuesday, 23rd. Sean Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. Reactive people make choices based on impulse. If life shakes them up a bit, the pressure builds and they suddenly explode. Proactive people make choices based on values. They are calm, cool, and in control. I love that quote, and it's very true. You're reactive, people push your button, you explode. Calm, cool, collective, you're okay. You know how to handle situations. So yeah, Sean Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. Next quote. There is something that we can learn from every person we meet. Sometimes it's learning what we should do. Sometimes it's learning what we shouldn't do. And this was Thursday, the 25th. I forgot what I was thinking when I said that. But yeah, Thursday. Next quote, be quick but don't hurry. John Wooden, legendary basketball coach. Pretty much what I take from that, and I discuss this with my boy Thomas as well, is hurrying usually implies that we are in a rush. We don't want to be in a rush, all right? We don't want to hurry. We rush when we don't have enough time or when we are behind on a particular task. So rushing is bad. No one wants to hurry. No one wants to rush. However, being quick implies that we are fast to take action. So it's important to be quick, know when to take action, know when to be quick. So that's what I take from that. Be quick, but don't hurry. John Wooden. Next, efficiency is about the process. Effectiveness is about the result. It's pretty self-explanatory. Efficiency, being efficient is about the process, how we go about doing something. Effectiveness, how effective we are, is about the end result. All right, was this effective? Was this not effective? So putting those two together, I always tell people that I like to be efficient and effective. I like to have a process about going and doing things in an efficient manner, and I want to make sure the end result is effective. So efficiency is about the process, effectiveness is about the result. My lips are mad chat right now. Repetition can be either negative or positive depending on our daily actions. That's something that was co-authored actually by me and my boy Thomas on Thursday night. We were going over a few things, and somehow we got in the middle of creating a quote, and we're like, we are not stopping or getting off this phone until we have this quote. So we were just putting words together until it sounded right. And this is the final product. Repetition can be either negative or positive depending on our daily actions. That's it. Repetition itself is the process. We can be repetitive at doing the wrong things. We can be repetitive at doing the right things. So repetition itself isn't bad. It's a very good thing, repetition. You know, it's a process. However, depending on the direction, it can be either negative or positive, depending on our daily actions. All right? So that is that. A Lover's Ambition. X, Get Up and Get Fit. Thomas Johnson. My homeboy. Family. What's going on? Next quote. So many men work hard without succeeding, and so many men succeed without working hard. Think about that. Let's make it modern. So many humans, so many men and women work hard without succeeding, and so many men and women succeed without working hard. It's very true. There are those who work hard without succeeding, and those who succeed without working hard. Let's go back to the common denominator of success. All right, let's analyze that and see what we can do differently to achieve and yield the results we want to achieve. So that's Albert E.N. Gray. Right there. Next up, John Wooden again. It's what we learn after we know it all that really counts. I got this off of the podcast with Brad Lomenick and Lewis Howes. which I posted on loversambition.com as well. And I'll throw in that link as a resource. How might we discover our purpose? So, yeah, John Wooden, it's what we learn about. It's what we learn after we know it all that really counts. You know, it's really being humble. No matter how much we achieve in life, no matter what we do in the world, on this planet, there's always more to learn. And the more we can learn, the more it counts. Let's practice humility. John Wooden. Brad Lomenick, kill it in the now, kill it in the next. Whatever we're doing now, whatever job we're in, just kill it. Do it the best you possibly can do it. And then from there, wherever you go from there, kill it again. Keep killing it. Wherever you are, just be the best at it. Be amongst the best. Be one of the best. I have the privilege of saying that whatever I've done, wherever I was at least one of the best, you know? I was at least a top performer. Whether it's working at Home Depot, whether it's teaching, whether it's my musical endeavors, whether it's identifying talent, whatever it is, I can at least say that within that circle I'm in, I am one of the best doing it. I would never say I'm the best, but I can definitely say I'm amongst one of the best. I don't mind being amongst one of the best and being around other great people as well. I definitely don't mind sharing that space. I love being around other great people who do it. So, kill it in the now, kill it in the next. Sounds like it could be in the song, actually. Lastly, in order to seek purpose internally, we must be curious externally. So that's what I said earlier. In order to seek purpose internally, we must discover and be curious externally. See what the world has to offer. See what the world has to give us. And that will help us to seek purpose internally in regards to our relationship with the outer world and what our purpose should and could be. So that's it. 7 days of wisdom. I think this is the longest one yet. 37 minutes, almost 40 minutes. I'm just talking, which is crazy. But yeah, that's it. 7 days of wisdom. Episode 17, February 28th. It's the end of February, last episode for February. We are going into March. And leave questions, leave comments. Let's interact. Shoot me some messages. What do you want to hear? What do you want to discuss? Let's build this community. Let's align our minds. Let's achieve the things we want to achieve in life. Alright? So I think that's it. We're signing off. Aquaus Kelley. See y'all next week. Peace and love. Have an impactful week. Peace.